for you. Obviously, this year you're a serious contender. Walk me through what changed with your training? What improvements did you make for to put yourself in a position to win it tomorrow?
I think not a lot changed with my general training philosophy. I'm a really high mileage guy. I value a lot of just aerobic strength. And I think I was just finally starting to see the payoff of kind of all that accumulation of training for me. And then I did change my mental perspective a lot. I became much more optimistic and much kind of less in my own way, if that makes sense from kind of the mental standpoint of it.
Question for Charles. I wanted to ask about the team race. So I interviewed your coach, Ricardo Santos, earlier this week. He said he wasn't sure that you guys even knew the exact year the last time Stanford won. I was curious, is that true? Do you know the last time Stanford won? Is there a burden on you guys to, I guess, end that quote-unquote drought?
Absolutely. It was early 2000s, no? Was it? Am I close? Can I get a shot in the dark? 2003?
There we go.
Okay. All right. I absolutely knew that 100%. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure, obviously, historically. We've always tried to be a program, that's known as a machine, and, you want a machine to be something that's consistently operating at the highest level. And, whether or not we've always achieved that is up in the air. We focus on this season, and I think, this season we've done everything in our power to sort of execute, and it's all just going to come down to tomorrow.
Yeah, question for Charles. Your team's ranked number 1 here going into the championship race tomorrow. And how, if at all, does that status for your team influence you and your racing approach to this?
Absolutely. So I know there's various strategies one can take, when you're looking at a team race like that. And for me, in my opinion, the best thing I can do for my team is to go out there and try and get 1 point. So that's what I'll be trying to do tomorrow. And I think that's what everybody on our roster is going to be trying to do. And that's sort of, our culture is not, there's no given day where you should sort of reserve yourself for any place. We're going out there to compete, and the best way you can compete is to try and win it.
Thank you.
More questions in the room?
Question for Nico. I'm curious how you feel your season has gone. Are you happy with the performances you put up so far? And then how does your fitness right now compare to where it was back in the spring for outdoor track?
Yeah, I feel like the season has gone really well. It's been a great postseason so far too, and I think a lot of that comes from the spring track season. I think that was a good turning point in a lot of my fitness, and I feel like that really came into this cross-country season so I can kind of work on my aerobic side a little bit more, and yeah, I think it's been really good.
Question for Alex here, Oklahoma State athlete, so you have, I guess I'd call it home course advantage. There's going to be a lot of people cheering for you. How does that impact your interaction with your teammates and for you individually in the race tomorrow?
I think it's a huge advantage, honestly, just knowing that, out there we're going to have the most supporters and the most fans. It's really a blessing to be able to have this kind of opportunity. And I've always kind of said too that chance favors those who are prepared. And I think that, by virtue of having it on our home course, we're going to be the most prepared out of anyone. So it's, a really big advantage.
Thank you.
Right behind you.
Oops, sorry.
Can agree with Runner Space and Dystat. Nico, last time we chatted was at the Big Sky Conference Championships. This team is now starting to look like their peak at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year. How are you guys feeling right now with your fitness and just coming into this meet?
Yeah, I think we're feeling really good. We've got a lot of momentum going into the end of the season, and I think we're really excited to race this race. And yeah, it's been a great last month here with conference and regionals and everything, and yeah, we're ready.
More questions in the room?
Yeah, another question for Nico. The course, you were 4th here as a freshman, 2021, and I think 11th last year. How do you feel about this course versus the Florida State course. Do you enjoy the hills? Like, what do you make of the course you're going to run tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, because I ran it my freshman year, I feel like I know what it's like. I think, I mean, it's still a 10K, and I think the only variable is obviously this course is different than the Florida course, but I mean, that doesn't change that everybody has to run the same course. So I think, yeah, it's going to be, yeah, a lot like it was 2 years ago.
Not a running related question, but I think it's a very important question for Charles. You were born in England, then you moved to the United States. There's a big game next week, United States versus England in the World Cup. Who's going to win, and who are you rooting for?
Well, I believe England's going to win, and I will be rooting for England, as I always did. I remember a very devastating goal let in a couple of years ago. Well, a lot of years ago, and I was a lot younger, and I remember suffering with my English classmates, and the people that I knew in America were making fun of me. So hopefully we'll get them back for that. I'll have a little bit better of a goalkeeping performance.
Hey Charles, this is kind of a question that goes on that. I know you. Like Jonathan said, I know you. You're from the United States. I was just curious. Do you have any familiarity with Rory Leonard? I know both of you guys run for the English national team.
Yeah, so I actually kind of met Rory online the first time that I was on competing for Great Britain in U20s out in Portugal, and then I really met him last year when we were running together on the U23 team, and we did a really good job out there in Dublin. We got second. We would have liked to get first, but I'm hoping we can compete again when this season's over.
Any more questions in the room before